past time.
How expensive do I have to be?
Need I spell it out before you get it, baby?
Show me your soul.
And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight. Ooh,
Show me your soul.
baby, I'll show you mine.
Show me your soul.
Can't you see it's way past time?
How expensive do I have to be?
Need I spell it out before you get it, baby?
Show me your soul.
And honey, I'll show you mine.
Well, good morning, beautiful people. How are you? I know my skin feels dry. I need to put some of this cream on this morning. You know, when you get over 50, you have to really, my grandmother used to say, make sure you take care of your skin, your feet, and your teeth, right? Okay. And I'm telling you what, man, this cold weather ain't no joke, right? How are things shaping up in your neck of the woods? I'm so glad you're all here. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments, and I am your host, Lauren Michaels Harris. So today is another great day to be alive, right? But okay, maybe some of you know something about this thing, this Mercury and retrograde stuff. Do you know anything about that? If you do, put something in the comments. It seems like, okay, this morning when I went to the gym again, yay, still on schedule. And I listened, I was on the treadmill today, it was cardio day, and I was listening to a Clubhouse room that I go to in the mornings. I really love it. It's a prayer and meditation room, and just so peaceful. And anyway, a lot of people were stepping up on the stage today and talking about how for the last couple days, you know, I had that day yesterday, couldn't get on the internet until 2 minutes before the show, boom, boom, boom. It was just one of those days. And my friend Teresa said she had the same kind of day day before yesterday, and then our guest today kind of had that day to start off today. How is it? Are you guys experiencing any of this? And what is this Mercury in retrograde? I got to Google it, I guess. I'd love to know what you guys have to say about that. And how has this week been for you? Is it smooth sailing? Has it been kind of bumpy? What's going on? I want to know. But today, we're going to have a great time for the next hour. I'm glad you're here. I would rather be nowhere else in the world except for Fiji, maybe, than here with you all right now. And our guest today is, oh man, you're in for a treat. His name is Ryan Hunt, and he is a veteran, and just, boy, what an entrepreneur. He has quite the bio, but I'm just going to give you a little Reader's Digest version, if that's okay. Ryan served for over 20 years as both an enlisted soldier, an NCO, and then later as an officer. He started his Army journey as a fire support specialist and moved up until he's got a whole bunch of stuff he did. I'm going to let him tell you about that. He deployed 3 times to Iraq and the former Yugoslavia. Now, he says that his main reason for serving over 2 decades plus in the the reason he did it was because of the horrible events of 9/11 back in 2001. And since transitioning from the military, here's where it gets really good. Ryan has become an entrepreneur, has a digital marketing company by the name of Pando Media, multiple e-commerce sites. One of them that we're going to talk about today is Mountain Up Cap Company. Also, Teddy Bear Roast. I think that's coffee. That's right up my alley. We're going to talk about that. And he even sells life and health insurance. So if you need some of that, listen up. He's probably got some great tips for you this morning. He's also the founder of a wonderful group by the name of Veteran Social Summit. And we'll talk about that. He's married. He has a beautiful wife and 3 gorgeous children, Gabriel, Gwen, and Christina Ryan. So it took him 3 to get that name of his inside there. I see it. I see it. And he's also a world traveler. Says that he's traveled and lived in over 34 countries, and his top 3 countries being Portugal, Colombia, and Spain. So that's Ryan Hunt. Ryan Hunt is in the house. So put your hands together, put your hearts on the screen, and let's welcome Ryan in Bathrobe Moment style. Here we come. And there's no Ryan there. I'm gonna take that out. And you know why? I told you he was having that kind of a day. I watched him in the green room all the way up until like 20 seconds before I brought him in, and then he disappeared. So he said he had been having internet issues earlier, but I think he's switching to something else because I saw something going on in there. So let's give him a second. Welcome to the show while we're waiting. Won't you please? My sidekick, she's a regular here, has been for almost 3 years, Miss Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. And we're still drinking on that 1 bag of Starbucks coffee. Remember I told you my niece. Thank you, Emma, who works, she's a teenager, a senior in high school, works at Starbucks in Lansing, Michigan. She gave me a Starbucks cup and a bag of that coffee. And boy, they know what they're doing. That stuff is strong. I'd usually just freehand it. I got me a tablespoon and started measuring it because yesterday I made it so strong. Every time I poured it, I had to only pour like a 1/4 cup and then fill it up with water. It was that strong. By I think 10, 15, I was like this. So don't be back, proceed with caution when you're drinking Starbucks coffee. I'm just saying. So the Bella Purpose is with us, and I see Ryan is back. The Bella Purpose is, there it is. That's your opportunity, my opportunity, our opportunity to really, really, really tie into the power of we. When we come together as a collective, we can make great things happen. Nobody can get to anywhere they need to go all by themselves. Can I get an amen? So the Bella Purpose is, when you hear it, it means that there's some great content out there, something that you might want to take with you. And we want to remind you of how important that is. Share it out. Invite somebody to listen and watch what's going on over here. Just share. And if you could right now, if each one of us shares this broadcast out just with one person, you never know what kind of change we could make in someone's life today. Can I get an amen? Now, I believe he's here. There he is. Now, that was really something. I was like, what? What the hell?
You know what Murphy's Law is, don't you, Aaron?
Yes.
Lauren,
Yeah.
sorry.
Aaron.
I'm having that day. I'm like meltdown.
Yeah, Brian.
You got me raw, bro.
It's okay. Hey, I have about 13 or 14 senior moments, and that's before noon on a good day. So I get it. So how you doing?
Well, this morning has been interesting. We're here in beautiful Chicago, just like you. And
you are?
You didn't know I was in Chicago?
No.
I'm right down the street from you.
Are you in the city?
I'm in Roscoe Village.
Oh, okay.
I'm about 2.4 miles from Michigan Avenue.
Oh, wow.
And my office is about a 10-minute walk to the lake. So in the summertime, come on down and we'll have some lunch by the lake.
Yes. Well, I didn't know we were neighbors. That makes it even more exciting. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I love the robe. And anything special about that shirt? I have a feeling.
Well, this is a Pando Commando shirt. So, we do make these, of course, at Mountain Up. But this is actually the logo for Pando Media.
Nice. You got your hands in so many things. I can't wait to get into that. But I'd like you to tell everybody a little bit of your backstory. You heard what I said, or maybe not, because you were doing your internet.
I did hear you. And, internet difficulties at time.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I had it yesterday. No worries. So tell everybody. Yeah.
A little bit about me. Well, I was born in Riverside, California.
I know it well.
In the mid-'70s. 1976 to be exact. So I'm about to hit the young age of 45, coming up pretty soon.
That is young.
My father was an entrepreneur, and we ended up traveling all over the world. By the time I was 12 years old, I think I'd already been to 25 countries and lived in some of those countries. So great opportunity. My dad always said, I might not leave you with much, but I will give you an MBA from my school of business. So I think he did that for sure. And he taught me a lot of important lessons. Some of those I didn't really realize until I was mid-deployment during my first deployment to Iraq. Anyways, fast forward, my father, he ended up getting diagnosed with liver cancer very late age. I took care of him during his final 6 months. He was very proud man, didn't want to go into hospice. He asked me to do a huge favor for him, which is to take care of him during his final months, which of course I honored as his son. He passed away. Long story short, I ended up joining the military, like a lot of young lads do. I was actually 21 when I joined. And my first duty station, when I originally joined, it was more, I wouldn't say an escape, but partly it was an escape from the destruction that had just occurred in my life. It was also an opportunity for me to get college money, much like everyone else.
Sure.
And to check the block. This is young man speak, but to check the block on serving my country. A lot of those things have changed over time, of course. Served my first enlistment. Got out April of 2001. Sergeant Hunt got out 2001. It was very quick enlistment. Went back to college in upstate New York, about 66 miles from Fort Drum, New York. I was in the 10th Mountain as I was enlisted. And then my first couple weeks of class, 9/11 occurred.
Wow.
And I had a very, very strong calling to return to service. Naively, when you're young, to go fight the bad guys. So I figured a great way to serve this country and to continue to give back was to join the Army ROTC program, finish my college degree, and then I went back as a lieutenant. Then I served very long military career as an Army officer, various different levels, different things. I won't bore everyone with my stories of that unless you
there's plenty of them. There's plenty of them. Ask Marty Martinez.
Yeah, Marty and I, we met. We were at the very end of my career. To start off with, I was a field artillery officer. Then I switched over to logistics, and at the very end, I did what is called a functional area in simulation operations. And Marty and I traveled in those same circles. The functional 57 area is a very small community of simulation operators, so to speak.
Okay.
So we know a lot of the same peeps. And now I know Marty, and he's one of my best friends.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Footy.
He's a good mentor, and sometimes he's a good student. Not so much a good student since he was a lieutenant colonel. Sometimes they don't like to
be told anything. I already know.
I'm just playing, Marty. I had to take a dig at you if you're out there.
Right. So listen, I have a question for you to kick this
Sure.
story time off. You've traveled and either traveled or lived in so many different places. I would think that would give you a real bird's eye view, a keen view of what it is about our country, the United States. Has it ever been where you go to all these places? I've been to a couple places outside the country, but nothing like you. And I just wonder, when you go, and especially when the places that you lived, when you return to the United States, what would you say is the thing that you appreciate the most about the USA being your home?
The convenience is what I appreciate the most. Sure, if you go to, the convenience is the word that comes to mind first. Technology is definitely another thing, but I guess that feeds into convenience. So what I mean by that is, if I want something, I can go to Walmart.
Right.
Right.
Readily available.
If I'm in, maybe not so much. Technology and globalization's changed a lot of things, but maybe if I'm in a place, and I haven't been to Ecuador, but let's just say I was in Ecuador, I might have to go to the Mercado to get my vegetables, depending on where I'm at. So there's still places that exist out there that are a little bit more austere than the United States. So I do appreciate those things when I'm back in the United States. United States is a faster pace. There's a different mindset.
The lifestyle.
A lifestyle for sure. And I don't know. It's tough for me. Having traveled to so many places, lived overseas, even though I deeply love America, of course.
Okay.
I also appreciate these other places that are around the world and different types of people that exist around the world. I wish everyone had an opportunity to be able to get some exposure in different places and have opportunities to move around. I mean, even in the United States, I've been to 48 of the 50 states. Luckily, I hope to get the last two. I haven't been to Boston, so I haven't been to Mass.
Oh my goodness, I used to live there. You'll love it.
You know, it's just that's one of them in Rhode Island. Those are just two I have. Somehow I missed the boat on.
I don't think I've ever been to Rhode Island either. But what about the places you lived at? Have you ever lived someplace where you couldn't wait to get back to the United States? It was like, oh my God, how did this happen? Any place like that come to mind?
Yeah, one place comes to mind, and I'm sure a lot of veterans would probably agree with me. Iraq.
I was going to say, in Minot, South Dakota is not a choice. That's an Air Force joke. If you were in the Air Force, you would know.
I would say that. I mean, it's kind of obvious on this one just because of
well, yeah, what's going on there.
But Iraq would be one place that it's not my. No offense to the Iraqi people, but it's not one place that I was too happy to be there, especially on the third trip. I was ready to be done. And actually the third deployment, when I was there, it was the closing days of what was said, the close of the Iraq war. Yeah. So I took one of the final convoys with my company. I was a company commander at that time. And we actually drove out of Iraq. And as we got to the border, there were Iraqi army guys clapping. I don't know if they were, excited for our journey and that it was coming to a close, or they just wanted us out of there. I think we'll go with
maybe
the latter.
A both.
But the Jurassic Parks, no one believes me, but there's some gates right there, and they opened up like Jurassic Park, and we drove out of Jurassic Park into Kuwait, and that was the final deployment for me.
You said something about commanding, and so let's talk about that if we could for a minute.
Sure.
I want people to maybe you can shed some light on what it's like to have the responsibility. I mean, of course, there are a lot of people who can relate to that: doctors, nurses, pilots, bus drivers, anybody that's got a bunch of people you have their lives literally in your hands. What would you say is the most coveted, or should be the most coveted, character trait of a person who has the lives of other people in their hands? What is the one thing that a good leader should always have in order to be able to pull this thing off? Because I don't think just anybody could do it, could they?
It depends. I mean, with success, I'm not sure. I don't know if 10 years later, I'm not sure if I was successful or not. I just tried to do my best. But characteristics I think are definitely important from my perspective. Okay, I'm not a guru of company command, but I would say I'm not a guru of anything. But what I would say is creativity and flexibility and caring. So if you're caring, that is a huge piece of it. You have to be able to care for the national treasure that the government, that the Army has bestowed upon you. In my case, that was 206 soldiers. That's a lot of men and women. A lot of women of different colors, different races, different orientations, and to be able to be caring, be able at some point to be not only sympathetic but empathetic of what their needs are. I mean, this is still the Army. Okay, you still have to do things that they might not like, and you still have to make decisions that are the best for the higher organization. But I always kept in mind what was best for them as I was going through and making those decisions.
Did you ever have a day, Ryan? I'm sorry. Did you ever have a day? Well, I'm sure. I don't know. You can never assume. Did you ever wake up or go to sleep and wonder if you were going to make it out of there?
Sure. I mean, at any course of all three of my deployments to Iraq, and I also had a deployment to the former Yugoslavia as a peacekeeper. But during the three deployments, the first one, okay, so going back, the first one I was very naive. I was all about the GI Joe. I was very gun ho. I got my platoon combat patrols in Southwest Baghdad, and very just naive. And that changed dramatically during the course of the deployment. The second deployment, I do remember being out in a convoy, and I was looking out the window, and I saw some I don't know if they were Blackwater, but some contractors, and they were running alongside outside the vehicle down this street, which was fairly dangerous. And I'm like, wow, those guys are special. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I would never, that's insane. And then it made me think about where I was at that moment and my sanity. And I just thought for a second, I looked up to the sky. Maybe I didn't look up, but I did think, like, God, let me make it through this, because I had a newborn that was Gabe. He's downstairs actually doing homeschooling. He's 13 now, but I wanted to have an opportunity to hold him. And I hadn't had that opportunity yet. So there are times where obviously not obviously, but there are times where I did think, man, am I going to make it through this thing? And in various times over these deployments.
So your wife had Gabe, and you were deployed.
My former wife, she unfortunately she passed away a few years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, she was already with Babe as I prepared to move out.
What was that like, having your son born, and here you are thousands of miles away?
Not a good answer. I'm more. I'm always looking at a bigger picture of things. So it did bother me. I wish I had been there for the birth, but at the same time, you could say I drank the Kool-Aid. Some people might say that, but I was really about the mission that I was on. And at that time, I was living with the Iraqi army, advising them and trying to, in my little foxhole, trying to get the Iraqi army as trained up as they could be, so that American soldiers could move on out of Iraq. So I felt like that was important. It was kind of a balance. So I missed that opportunity, which luckily I had two other beautiful children. So I was able to see their births and spend some time with them.
The reason I asked that is because, you know, we always, and, you know, of course I'm a vet, and when we see other people that have served or are currently serving, you know, the coined phrase is "thank you for your service." And I always wonder about that, because there's so much sacrifice involved. And do you feel like "thank you for your service" is a loosely used term? Or do you think that most people that say that truly, truly mean it and are grateful for the service of all of the men and women, past, present, and future, that are responsible for keeping these borders safe? How do you feel about that?
I think over time, my thinking has evolved. You know, this is one thing, a luxury that me and you have, is you spend more time on this earth. You understand that your viewpoints are going to shift over time with new input. I remember, so when I came back from Iraq during my first, I think it was called EML, so R&R leave, and we get back, we get into Dallas, the hoses are over the airplane, we deboard, unboard, get off the airplane, and they're trying to, the old veterans and volunteers are trying to get us off onto our flights. Mine was to Las Vegas, and the flight, my flight wasn't for another 4 hours, but there was one that was leaving, and they held the plane. So I get to the plane, and they're like, "We are so sorry." And I'm like, what's going on? And here I am, smelly, been on the airplane for 16 hours. They're like, we usually would put you in the very front. And I'm like, well, that's okay. We have one seat left. It was in the very back of the plane. So I get on, they made an announcement. I could hear them making an announcement as I'm walking down the gate to the connector to the plane. And they're like, sorry, we have a veteran just coming back from Iraq, and he'll be here in a second. And so I get there, and the whole plane like starts clapping.
I was gonna say, I knew it. I'm getting chills already, and you haven't even said it.
It was very awkward at that time for me. I'd been through a lot of some of my garbage, we'll just say I'd already been through at that point, but also it was I didn't know how to react to that. And then as I walked to the seat in the very back of the plane, there were people like standing up, they're clapping, they're like patting me on my back. Lots of thank yous. Like even me, I have to fight back tears just thinking about it, because there was a lot of respect and an admiration, not for me, but for the uniform that was walking to the back of the airplane. So it was tough. Even now, like I tell the story, and I think about that, and it was definitely emotional. And I'm not sure at that point I didn't feel like I really earned that. So maybe that's a little bit of imposter syndrome.
Right.
But I walked back, and then the stewardess came over. Do you want a beer? I said no, because I was still in uniform. I probably could have had one just fine, but I didn't do it. And we flew off to Las Vegas. But there were people standing up during the flight, and they were coming back and thanking me too.
Yeah. So when you reflect back on that moment, let's just take that moment and then reflect back a few weeks ago when we had that situation, we'll call it, at the Capitol. What goes through your mind when you after having experienced that kind of reception on the plane and then seeing that sort of thing on the television screen? How did you process that? What was going through your mind?
Yeah, that's. Are we sure we want to go?
Well,
there?
I just want to know. Yeah, I do, because
I did get banned from Facebook recently, so
you've been Facebook
I wasn't really. I'm actually not political for the most part, but I do.
Neither am I. Just like I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual.
I'll go into it. So but I want to finish up here. So even if you were to say thank you for your service today, and I would thank you. I would understand, and I would have the understanding of it. But there was phases even where I was kind of like disgusted by someone saying thank you for your service, because my mindset was like, well, I'm like, I just got back from my 3rd deployment. Are you really? If you were really thankful, why aren't you in uniform? And I had that kind of selfish thoughts. So I've been through the whole spectrum to now where I'm just like, you know what? It is what it is, and I do appreciate someone that appreciates what I've done, because there are people out there that don't appreciate it at all, and they actually are not big fans of the military, and they aren't. As I look at something like and I hope that wasn't negative, but I appreciate it. But there's been times where it's a love-hate thing, actually. Right. But as I looked at the events of 6 January. I was disgusted, quite frankly. I mean, it's a breakdown, and it doesn't matter because I guarantee you that, well, I can't guarantee you anything, but in my thought process is there was a little bit of everybody out there, mostly probably evidently, extreme right wingers.
Oh yeah. Well,
but the fact that they went to the Capitol and they basically invaded a very sacred spot of democracy. See, I'm a nationalist. So when they did that, I don't care if you're Trump, you're Hillary Clinton, you're Mickey Mouse. It doesn't matter to me anymore.
Right.
I take an oath that, we've all taken this oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And when I look at things like that, I'm just appalled by it.
Yeah.
This is not what we're about.
Well, I mean, you've gone and look at all the men and women that have gone and put their lives on the line. Many actually sacrificed their lives to protect inside of these borders. And then when you see something like, what happened with me it was heartbreaking to me that, because I've said it before, I don't know if you heard me say it, how I realized this was I was coming downstairs and it was on the television in the family room, but I heard it before I saw it. And it's like if I picked up this cup of coffee thinking coffee was in it, it was buttermilk. You know, when you take, you go, oh, you know, when I rounded the corner and saw what was on the screen, I really expected it to be someplace overseas. And when it said Washington, my mind just had like, it didn't know what I was looking at. And what's been going through my mind during and since is all of the sacrifice, all of the work it has taken over the since this country was formed to get us to where we're at. And you know, I mean, you got the Boston Tea Party and all that kind of stuff, and this and the Civil War stuff that did happen here, but nothing like this, just out of rage, anger, and stuff. And it was really disappointing. But you know, again, too, we're living in a very difficult time right now.
I was going to say that this last year, year plus, has really changed the dynamics of how we live and how we think, and not in a good way. It's separated us too. You know, it's definitely created a lot of separation. We're both in Chicago. You know, if we're going to talk about the Capitol, you know, incident, we should talk about what happened earlier this year, where, you know, there was a lot of looting, and we could say we can go back and forth. I'm just going to say on the surface.
That's a good point.
You know, I'm looking on the surface. I just didn't like what I was seeing in terms. I'm not talking about, you know, there's peaceful protests. We get it, but there's also looting, and it was a really different thing. When Michigan Avenue, and those guys have insurance. I get it. They have business insurance, right? But does that mean that civil disobedience and disorder and looting and basically turning the Chicago was Gotham City?
Well, and it's what kind of message are we sending? You know, what kind of message are we sending? And so, well, more the reason why we have people like you and a lot of most of the guests that are on this show and many shows, many platforms, people who are doing their part to help us all keep it together, mindset wise. What's that?
I said it's so hard. You know, one thing, and I was reading some articles that would contradict what I'm about to say, but for me, when I was in the military, and even now still, I really had a viewpoint of, it's kind of like the Colonel Moore. You see it in We Are Soldiers, and he gets up there right before they go to Vietnam, and he's talking about entering the Valley of Death, and it doesn't matter whether you're black, you're white, you're green, you're red. It doesn't matter. We have a guy over here from whatever, from Poland, a guy from et cetera, et cetera. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact quote there, but you get the point, I think. So the point being is that's how I've lived my last 20 plus years. Right. And actually before that is because I've lived in different places. I've never really thought of things like this before.
Right.
Really have not. And you can call that white privilege. You can call that whatever you want to call it. I guess I never really put a lot of thought to these things, and maybe I should have. Maybe it's a little bit of ignorance on my part, is what I was thinking. And I've been challenged on my own thoughts this last year. I know I'm taking this in a way different direction, but I've been challenged a lot about my thoughts. Maybe my thoughts being, I've kind of been blind, so to speak, on some of these issues. And maybe I should have been more thoughtful of it. Maybe just say, well, you know, like I thought, okay, well, I serve this country, so I must believe that everyone has the right to do whatever the right freedom of speech, freedom of everything that is protected in our Constitution. Because we are the people. That's what I actually believe. But this last year, it's been challenged a lot. And I realized I went to the west side of Chicago, very far side of Chicago. And if you haven't been there, we should go for a ride sometime.
Who hasn't been there?
We can do a live show from there because it's worse. It's worse. We probably won't have internet because actually it is worse than a combat zone out there. But then I have to, and I'm not trying to get political, but you have to think, well, why is it like this? Why is the west side or the south side of Chicago at such a disadvantage? And why are these people out here in such a bad situation? Why have they been left out here like this?
Yeah.
Is it
there's a lot of that across the country.
There is.
But again,
this is like, I couldn't believe it. I kept on driving, and 5 miles turned into 10 miles, turned into 20 miles, I was 40 miles from here, and there were dilapidated buildings and neighborhoods that I was scared in. I was actually scared in, and I've walked the streets of
right.
of Baghdad.
Well, one of the things is too, and we were talking about this on a show a couple of weeks ago, the media will show what they want. I have vets here, numerous ones who in Afghanistan, different places where wartime, and they say that we never get to see as civilians their peacekeeping efforts, how much time they spend getting to know the locals and speaking with children and all the different things. And it's the same way in our inner city. There's a lot of good. I work with my nonprofit, Power We Symposium, primarily in inner city areas across the country. And every place you go thinking you're going to see what you saw on the news, but inside there is the Ooey Gooey Chewy Center of Hope, which is within every place you look, if you are looking for that. So I get it. Listen, when we come back from commercial, we're going to talk to Ryan, our guest today, Ryan Hunt, I want to know a little bit about your peacekeeping mission. What does that look like? What does it feel like? What did you get from that experience? And how much peace was actually in that opportunity for you? And then we want to get into all this plethora of businesses. You are a serial entrepreneur for sure. So we're going to get into that and much more when we come back. I want you guys to stay put, call a friend, phone a friend, send out a raven, do a smoke signal, whatever you need to do to get someone here. We got much more coming. Don't you go. We'll be right. We'll be right back. That's just that's that Starbucks coffee. I shouldn't have watered it down. I should have left it at full strength. I should have kept it strong. Right. We'll be right back. You guys don't go away. Okay, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris. We're inside of today's installment with my guest, Ryan Hunt. I want to thank my sponsors for today, Jennifer J. Hammond and her summit that is coming up, Real Estate Investment Summit. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And also my new favorite people, Intention Pen at intentionpen.com. I have mine here. And I'm going to sign a big contract for national TV, network TV one day with this pen. I'm setting the intention. Set yours and get over to intentionpen.com and get this pen in your life. Okay. We're here with Ryan Hunt today. Welcome back, Ryan. Give us a little short thing, because I got a lot of stuff I still want to cover with you about a peacekeeping mission. So I've never had a person on that said they were sent somewhere. You said the former Yugoslavia and on a peacekeeping mission. So are you sent in to bring people, to keep them calm from getting out of hand, or to go bring them back because they are out of hand, or just to go and spread goodwill? What's that look like?
So for me, we were part of what's called a stabilization force. So and we were part of what's called S46. So for us, it was just stabilizing. My role, I was a lower, at that time, I was when I first got to Bosnia, I was a PFC. I left as a specialist promotable. So my main role, a lot of guard duty, QRF duties, and a little bit of PSD, personal security. We escorted the Jordan about our responsibility was to escort her from the airplane to some gates.
Okay.
So very, very small there, but I did
so
go.
Why do they call it a peacekeeping mission?
That's what it was termed as. We fell under NATO, so you don't fall under that. In that case, you wouldn't fall under UN, but we fell under NATO forces, and we were there just to stabilize it. There was a lot of stuff going on, bad stuff going on in the former Yugoslavia. Broke up. The country broke up into the several different countries.
Okay.
And there was genocide and racial cleansing and all these other bad things that happened, in dark places at dark times. So our role as a peacekeeper was just to stabilize the peace. We're more of a presence to
a command presence. Okay.
Just a presence to stop the tourism from being bad.
Okay. Thanks for clearing that up. In your bio, when you mentioned the 34 different places you've either visited or lived, you pointed out 3 that were your favorites. And so I wanted to play a little game with you and see how many of these you can get right. I have 3.
This was the thing I was scared about the most. I'm like,
what?
The quiz.
Oh, it's not a quiz. I'm going to throw a photo or 2 or 3 up on the screen, one at a time. And I want to see if you can identify these landmarks, one from each of your top 3 countries. Oh. Okay, I'm not going to tell you what order. They're just random.
I'll probably be the first to get 0 out of 3.
So. Hey, I've not played this game with anyone yet, so you could set the record. So here we go. Okay, what are we looking at?
I've never seen that building before, but I believe that would be that's in Portugal.
That is actually in Spain. It is the
I've never been to there.
It is the In Tempo skyscraper, a national landmark.
Haven't been there.
Well, now you have a reason to go back. Right? I'm interested. Look at the top in the V. Can you guys see that little cone thing? Those are actually balconies and rooms and stuff. And I bet you there's a pool or a heliport at the top.
Oh, yeah. On the top, there's got to be.
Very interesting.
Last time I was in Spain was 97 was the last time I was
there then.
Was it? Yeah, I did go. I was actually in Spain.
Okay, well, you're 0 for 1. Okay, you're headed towards that record you prophesied.
I'm going for 0, guys.
Here's your next one. Name the country and see if you can name the.
Oh God. Oh.
Now this ought to jump out at you at least.
I'm definitely going for 0 for 3 on this one. That's Portugal.
Yes, that is Portugal. Okay, that's part one. So you got a half a point so far. This is from a collection that you'll find all over Portugal, all done by the same artist. And can you name it?
Oh, I can. I do seem to remember these horses, but no, I cannot.
They got little fat men and everything, like little Buddhas.
Yeah,
all over.
Batman. Yep.
Right.
I cannot remember the guy's name for the
Right.
life of me. I told you I'm about these games.
Botero. Botero.
Yes,
This is a
that
Botero
sounds familiar.
sculpture. Okay, here's your last one. So you got a half point out of 2.
Oh, I already broke my record. But I've
Last
set
one.
low for everyone.
Okay, what are we looking at?
That's Colombia.
Well, that's the only place left. So okay, I guess you can get that. Okay, you're up to 1 point.
I think that's in Cartagena, isn't it?
I don't know. It's the Los Sculptures del Botaro Medallion, and that is exactly how it's supposed to sound. So for those of you who are saying, what the hell did he say? I don't know. I'm sure I'm nowhere near what it really sounds like. Okay, so 1 point out of 3. That's not bad.
Here we go.
I should pull up something from Chicago and really stump you.
Oh my God!
I wasn't prepared for that. So next time,
get a lower score.
Next time, I know. I have something down there. That's the liquor store on the corner from your house. Duh. No. Anyway, okay. I want to ask you about your brands. Let's start with the Pando Media. What do you guys do, and who do you do it for?
So, Pando Media is a digital marketing company, much like a lot of veterans have, but we're really focused on e-commerce. So we do a lot of e-commerce advising. We actually have a couple e-commerces ourselves that we do fairly well, including Mountain Up is I guess the flagship e-commerce holding that we have.
Now explain to people that they've heard the term, but they don't really know what it looks like when you part the curtain. What's inside of that room known as e-commerce?
E-commerce. So
is it Etsy?
Is it what?
Is it like Etsy where people just sell things online? What is e-commerce?
Well, for Mountain Up, for example, we use the platform Shopify. So you can find that shopify.com. And that's still building a website, but it helps you to manage the back end of your store. And with e-commerce, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. And Etsy is an e-commerce store,
right?
We do have we're starting to put together a very small presence on Etsy with Mountain Up plugged in. It's just an integration tool.
Speaking of,
this is part of the e-commerce world. This is an e-commerce integration tool between our main website with mountainupcaps.com and also with Etsy, where we're putting our store front on Etsy. Just more places.
Okay. So do you help people open their own e-commerce sites, or what do you?
Sure, we do as well, and we also help people, especially veterans. Most of my stuff for the veteran, and if Doc Rob was here, he'd be like, you need to charge them $100 or $500. He told me $500 the other day.
I'm like, Doc Rob, who? Now I know you're talking about Rob Garcia.
The warrior strategist.
Yes.
I give a lot of free chicken to the veteran community. It's just my way of giving back.
Did you say chicken?
What's that?
Did you say chicken?
I said chicken. I said free chicken.
Okay, hold on. You gotta warn me before you mention chicken. You know I'm on a diet, and you can't just say chicken around a black man and not have some. You should.
But I'm a panda. So
wait a minute. Well, you got a chicken company?
No chicken company.
So what do you mean you give a lot of chicken?
Free chicken, like free advice. You never heard that expression?
No wonder. That's okay. Free chicken.
Oh man, you must be on day 10 of the diet because you're like.
Look, you remember on the cartoons back, the real cartoons like Warner Brothers, and the fox would be hiding and whatever, and the chicken would turn into a drumstick. When you said that, you turned into a drumstick because I haven't. I'm so.
I know. I saw your eyes.
Right. I'm so.
But, no, what I meant by that is free. I give a lot of free advice to the that are out there. So even if you're watching this and you're interested in e-commerce, we
hit him up
for some free advice.
Okay.
Usually my advice starts with, are you using your email list? And most people, 99% of the people I've talked to say they don't. And I'm like, well, you're in e-commerce. Why? How many people do you have? I don't know. Well, you should know. It's definitely important to leverage those things, especially if someone's coming on your website, they're taking the time to fill out, to subscribe. You have kind of the right to spam them at that point, and you should. So it's definitely important. So a little bit of free chicken.
Okay,
Right?
I get it now.
Okay.
See, I can. You can never say that around my family. They're gonna start putting plates on the table. I'm just telling you. So listen, what about So are you able to help some? Because a lot of people are looking for additional streams of income in this day and age, of course, for obvious reasons. Would you say, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would it fall as something to consider if you're looking to add more income into your world? This might be a place that you want to look at. Yes.
Sure. I mean, that's what I do. I have multiple income streams coming in, and
Okay.
so my e-commerce endeavors are definitely bring me in extra revenue for sure.
Okay.
I couldn't
All right.
afford to live in a place like Chicago without many revenue streams.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Come on to Naperville.
Woof.
Right.
It
Our
is.
taxes are the highest in the country.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's
Here
just
in Naperville.
it's not cool.
So tell us about Mountain Up caps. Is that this kind of cap?
Sure, it's mostly military caps, but here, for example, I'll give you an example. This is one of our.
I want that. That's right. Thank you for doing that. That's right. Hold on. Stop the presses. I want one of those hats. I don't care what I have to do. Well, within reason. I want that cap, and
No,
I have a note here. Wait, Dr. Rob had on a new shirt the other day. I think it had a teddy bear.
Yeah, it had a panda, and it was a Taco Tuesday.
Tuesday, and I want one of those.
Yeah, let's get it for you. I can get it for you.
You can't. I mean, I'll buy it, but I want them, and I'll wear it here on the show too.
Perfect.
Mountain Up caps, you guys. There's the site on the screen. Now here we go. Working down. I had to cut the interview short by 7 minutes just to cover all his businesses. Here's another one. We were talking about teddy bear roast. This coffee, right?
This is coffee, and I was having some chocolate hazelnut this morning. This is a new endeavor, and I'll tell you, it's great coffee, and we've been getting a lot of positive reviews from our customers from it. So definitely check it out. It's very inexpensive compared to some of the other coffee companies that are out there. I won't name them. And if you're a veteran, law enforcement, and you verify through GovX, you actually receive a discount on top of everything.
Ooh, we love discounts. I'm on my way.
It's a great premium coffee. If you're looking for something sweet, highly recommend the chocolate hazelnut or the Mexican chocolate.
Please. I have to ask you to refrain from using my stage names of days gone by. Seriously, what are you doing? Working for TMZ?
Yes.
Leave my past life as an exotic dancer out of this interview. Thank you very much. Thank you. What about this one? I'm really excited about this, and I really want you to tell people what this is all about.
Good.
This one means the most to me because of what it's done. I've gone in and really taken a deep dive into it. Tell everybody about Veteran Social Summit.
So this is definitely something that it started just as an idea, something I wanted to just say, oh, I've done a virtual event, but it's become a lot bigger and more important than that. So the first thing, we started an event, Veteran Social Summit at #VetSocial, and that was held on 5 December. The aim was to bring together veteranpreneurs, from the entrepreneur space, and such as Stephen Kuhn, Doc Rob, or the Warrior Strategist. We had a lot of different people, a lot of
Lane Balone. Did you have Lane in there?
Lane, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
a lot of great people, a lot of knowledge bombs were thrown down, including Adam Bird from Heroes Media Group was there, and just a ton of people, and very informative. We put the tickets originally. I was going to charge for the money. There was going to be a funnel, and then I'm like, no, this is Veteran Social Summit. This needs to be about the veterans. So the tickets were free. Well, they were on VetTix, and VetTix took a $3.95 fee, but all of that went to VetTix, and we gave all the tickets to them to handle. And then
what is VetTix?
VetTix, if you go to, I believe it's vettix.org, it's basically
thank you, Lori. Love you back. Sorry.
It's basically a place where there's events, tickets for sporting events, for
okay.
whatnot, but it's really aimed at veterans, so they have lower prices.
Nice
tickets all the time,
like the veteran AARP.
Kind of something
like that.
Or So we had our tickets there. The event was held on 5 December, and it was just great. It had a lot of great feedback, and I didn't expect to have as much engagement as we had. And we had some wonderful, just terrific sponsors, and including Kurt Balish, Balish Woodworks.
Oh yeah.
Stars and Stripes.
Great cutting boards and just those ashtrays they make. Boy, those are nice. So do you plan on doing another one?
So we do have another one coming up. It's called Today I Decide, ? Today I Decide. So what are you going to decide today? Right.
And when is this?
And that is on 3 April. So coming up here in about 7 weeks. And the focus of this one is not just military, but it actually has a civilian and military component. It's focused on the mental health the mental health space. So bringing mental health awareness, and we're focused on mind, body, and spirit. Nice. So just a great event. We've compiled some really great speakers. We're going to have Richard Kaufman, who did a really emotional.
I love Richard Kaufman.
And
he was here last week. Yes.
He pre-recorded his talk. I just watched it. People are going to be crying.
I love Richard Kaufman. I love it. Listen, unfortunately, we have run all the way around the clock to the 1 minute mark before we need to say goodbye for today, but not forever. And I want you to know you're an open door, turnstile invitation to you to come back anytime you want to share with us, or you have something coming up that you want us to know about. Everything Ryan Hunt does, you can start at pando.media to have your questions answered. Just see what he's doing. Just say hello. Drop in and see what they're doing. Great things. I will rotate the rest of his connectors as we get out of here today. But as we leave, I just want to leave you with this. Remember that all of us has a calling. We all have a purpose, unlike anyone else in the universe. Get out today and every day and try your best to be the blessing that you would love to see in the world. Give away the gift that you want to get back in return, and see what happens all around you, right? Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing with us and helping us to grow and to know and to be better at everything we are setting our intentions on. If you would like to be a guest, watch the close. It'll show you an email in there that if you were interested in being a guest or sponsor, we'd love to hear from you. Ryan, thank you so much. Have a blessed day. You're welcome back anytime. What's next for you on your agenda today?
Today, I am working from home, and I'm watching some kids this morning. So that's kind of what is on the plan. I have a 2-year-old downstairs.
Oh, that's a full-time job in itself.
Brother.
Right. Okay. Well, listen, you guys, get out there, be the best that you can be. That's all you can do. Always do your best. Remember the 4 agreements. Be true to your word. Don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions. And always do your best. I'll see you tomorrow morning right here on Bathrobe Moments, God willing, for our next episode. Tomorrow, my guest is Maurice W. Dorsey. This guy has a story. You're not going to want to miss it. It's a great way to round out the week. God bless you. And thank you, Ryan, again. We'll see you guys. We'll see you. Have a great day. Get out of here. Bye, everybody.
Show me your soul.
Baby, I'll show you mine.
Show me your soul.
Honey, it's way past time.
How expensive do I have to be?
Need I spell it out before you get it, baby?
Show me your soul.
And honey, I'll show